What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're gonna make 3 super usable and super simple synth sounds in Ableton Live. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first sound that we're gonna make is a sub bass. To do this, select a MIDI track, come over to Instruments, and double click Analog. Come down to Oscillator 2, we're gonna disable it. Come up here to Shapes, and we're gonna select this first option. This is a sine wave. And congratulations, you now have a sub bass. It should sound something like this. Okay, like I said, this video is going to be super simple. Now, what makes a sub bass like this so useful is that it brings a whole lot of bass to a song without being overly distracting. You could use this bass sound just as it is if you want a super simple bass tone. But sub basses are also really useful when you have a song that just needs a little extra oomph in the low end. You can double an existing bass line with a sub bass to fill out those bass frequencies. Okay, let's make the next sound. So we're gonna select a new MIDI track, drop in another analog. We're gonna disable Oscillator 2. And for this one, let's leave it a saw, and we're gonna make a saw pad. So right now, our tone sounds like this. And the basic gist of making a pad, typically starting with something like a saw wave and then just adding a filter envelope to it. And if we come to the filter tab, let's pull the frequency down. Somewhere around 1K. Since we've clicked the filter tab, it brings up the filter envelope. I'm gonna change it to linear. I'm gonna take this first node, I'm gonna pull it back a little bit, somewhere around here. This gives us this like swelling kind of effect. Like it sounds like the pad's kind of growing over time. And that's kind of the most simple form of a pad. Now we can make the sound a little bit more interesting. If we come over to this tab, click it. For voices, let's set it 32. Let's turn on unison voices to 4. And we're gonna detune this a little bit. Yeah, somewhere around 10 sounds pretty good. So now we have this more spacious sounding pad. We can take this a step further too. We can turn on LFO1, come back to the filter tab, under frequency mod, LFO1. Let's bring this up just a little bit. Somewhere around 1 sounds pretty good. And let's just slow the LFO rate. Let's turn on retrigger. So now we have a little bit more motion and interest as we play longer sustained chords. And one thing that I forgot to say, if we go into the amp tab, our release, we're gonna increase this a little bit. I'm going to put it somewhere around 2 seconds. I'm not using a sustain pedal. As I let off the keys, the notes are going to linger a little bit longer. And so there you go. That's a nice sounding saw pad. Let's make one more sound. We're going to open up a new MIDI track, drop in analog, turn off Oscillator 2. And for this, we're going to do a square pluck. So under the wave shape, let's pick the square wave. It's going to sound like this. Kind of video game sounding. Now to make a pluck sound, what we want is we want a really strong attack that just cuts out right away. And there's a few different ways to do that. We could do it with the amp envelope, but we're just gonna do it with the filter envelope. So let's bring down the filter frequency. Somewhere around, I don't know, 1.5K. Okay, and then we'll come to our filter envelope, come to this node, and just pull it all the way down. So we're just turning the sustain off. Now we have a super simple pluck sound. We can take it a step further by clicking the oscillator tab, and we can adjust the pitch envelope. So just click here and set it to 50. So now we have this sound. And so what's happening when we first press a note, we get a higher pitch and then it sort of falls to the actual pitch. Sounds kind of goofy, but let's speed that up. Maybe like, actually more like 8. So we have a nice strong attack. So there you go. That's a really simple square pluck sound. So let's put them all together and see how it sounds. Okay guys, there you go. That's 3 really usable, really simple synth sounds in Ableton Live. I hope you guys found something useful, learned something new in this video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you learned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, later.